You know, the world we live in, it was built by a kind of silent architect, a man who looked up at a flash of lightning and didn't just see a storm, he saw the future. This is the incredible story of Nikola Tesla.
I mean, think about it. When a big storm rolls in, most of us see something to fear, right? A destructive force of nature. But this one boy, he saw a power that could be harnessed. He saw pure inspiration. And that's really where the story of our modern world kicks off.
So yeah, let's start right there, with this boy who is inspired by lightning.
For Tesla, lightning wasn't chaos. It was a blueprint. See, his mind, it just worked on a whole other level. He wouldn't just sketch out ideas. He'd see entire complex machines, fully formed, running perfectly in his head before he even picked up a single tool. It's like he was building reality inside his imagination first. So what was the point of all this for him? What was driving him? It wasn't fame, it wasn't money, it was this one truly radical vision, a world where energy isn't something you buy and sell, a world where power could be free and light could shine on every single person on the planet, no price tag attached. And that brings us to the next part, vision versus profit. Because, you know, a beautiful, idealistic dream like that is bound to crash right into the hard wall of reality. And the person who basically was that wall of reality? Thomas Edison. When Tesla met him, it must have felt like fate. You know, the perfect partnership was finally here. This was his big shot to make all those incredible visions come to life. But oh man, were they on different wavelengths. For Tesla, it was all about humanity, about building the future, about changing the world for the better. For Edison, it was about profit, about the here and now, about controlling the world. These weren't just different goals, they were polar opposites. They could not exist in the same room. So Tesla was faced with this impossible choice, and he made a decision that would define the rest of his life. He chose his vision over a guaranteed fortune, and just like that, he walked away.
He stayed true to himself, to his dream. But what did it cost him?
Well, this is where the story gets tough. This is how the world forgot his name. Because the cost, it was devastating. After leaving Edison, Tesla found out the hard way that the world just wasn't ready for him. His ideas were too big, too far ahead of their time, so they were rejected. His amazing work was just flat out ignored. And his genius, it was completely misunderstood by a world that only cared about the next dollar, not the next century. And here's the part that really has to sting. While Tesla was being pushed into the shadows, other people started rising up. They were building huge empires on the very ideas that he had dreamed up first. It's like the world was finally catching up to his vision, but it was leaving him completely behind. And look, this wasn't some sudden event. It was a slow, painful fade into nothing. First, his work gets ignored. Then, his genius is totally misunderstood. And then, bit by bit, the world just forgot he existed. And this is where that big, noble choice led him. Not to some fancy lab or a mansion. It led him to a small room. Alone. No fame, no fortune. Just silence. So you'd think that's the end of the story, right? A forgotten man in a lonely room. But it's not even close, because his story has one last incredible twist. See, here's the wild paradox of his life. The world might have forgotten the man, but his vision, that thing he gave up everything for, it didn't die. In fact, it was quietly starting to take over the entire planet. All of a sudden, cities started to glow at night. The engines of the modern world roared to life. The very future he had built inside his head was now being built all around him, running on his alternating current, even though nobody knew to thank him for it. And it all comes down to this one single image. On his very last night, he's an old man, and he's standing by his window just looking out at New York City, which is glowing with electric light, a light he made possible. And they say that in that moment, he smiled. The world had completely forgotten the architect, but it was now living inside his beautiful cathedral of light. He had laid the foundation for the entire 20th century. The future he had dreamed of, it had finally arrived. And this is why this matters to you, right now. Because today, every single time you flip a switch, every screen you turn on, every phone you charge, you are plugging into his legacy. He is the invisible architect of the world you live in. Just a silent genius who gave the world literally everything and asked for absolutely nothing back. His reward was never going to be fame or money. His reward was seeing his dream come to life for all of us. So I guess that leaves us with one final question. If you measure success by the world's standards, wealth, fame, recognition, then yeah, he was a total failure. But if real success is about changing the world for the better, for everyone, did he fail or did he actually win?